This is Brittany Walker. This is my final project presentation for my Informatics 6345. So I'm going to do a breakdown of my project. My first part is to describe my case study. So this case study is about a mother named Joy who had recently developed some concerning symptoms such as stiffness in her hands that lasts for a long period of time. She also had some stiffness in her wrists, ankles, and other joints. Joy is a hairdresser who's on her feet all day and is now finding it hard to stand for long durations, and her once joyful attitude was now that of irritation. Because of these rapid changes, Joy decided to consult her physician, who ran some preliminary tests and decided to refer her to a specialist, which was a rheumatologist. Joy attended her appointment with the specialist, who sent additional lab tests to confirm her diagnosis. Joy received a confirmation diagnosis of RA from her specialist, which is rheumatoid arthritis. She was prescribed medication to lessen and maintain her symptoms. So the first diagram I did, which was an interaction diagram. So just a breakdown of this diagram, I have my lanes. Starts with Joy, the primary care physician, the rheumatologist, and the laboratory. So Joy goes to her scheduled appointment, and during that scheduled appointment, her primary care physician completes some preliminary blood tests. So he sees something that's concerning, which prompts him to send a referral to the specialist. So the specialist wants to get her in immediately. They schedule her with the nurse practitioner who sends x-rays, and the CMA, the medical assistant, who documents Joy's medications and her dosages in the EHR system. So the nurse practitioner and the CMA, they both send x-rays and tests to be sent to the lab, who confirms the diagnosis of arthritis. And then the lab completed the blood work, consulted the x-rays. The specialist confirmed the diagnosis with Joy. So in my use case study, so while I was creating this use case diagram, I reviewed how all the entities worked within the system. So I assumed that the patient had access to her information, such as like diagnosis, medication, treatment plans, through a health insurance portal. This way, the individual can review all her procedures. So the healthcare system, she can view her preliminary blood system. I'm sorry, the healthcare system, or the system that all this information is in, which I assume to be her health insurance portal. She can view her preliminary blood tests, her referrals, her lab results, her x-rays, and her blood tests. So the primary care physician also has access to her preliminary blood tests and her referral to the rheumatologist. The specialist has access to the referral. She also has access to the lab results. And so I put the CMA and the nurse practitioner who works under the specialist. They also have um, access to the lab results, and the lab technician who has access to the lab results as well, which those lab results consist of the x-rays and the blood tests. And this is my activity diagram. So in this, it shows the flow of the case studies, which reflects the individual scheduling the appointment, the primary care physician deciding yes or no if she needs further action taken, or if she don't, and what she did. So he sent the referral to the nurse practitioner or the specialist, who ordered more tests, who sent x-rays to the laboratory that confirmed the RA. We also have the CMA, the medical assistant, who ordered tests as well, and sent them to the laboratory. And then we have the flow coming back to the client, Joy, who has to monitor and treat RA symptoms through medication and continued x-rays. This is my HL7 version 3 message, which shows the referral for the patient. I did the referral as the act. and what it consists of. And the pertinent information over here is what the primary care physician observed. Um, the subject was referred, um, and that referrer is linked to the physician's office, who sees the patient, which is Joy. And then down here under the patient in the green block, we have her name, how to contact her, her gender, her birth date, her address, marital status, education level, her race, and her ethnicity. But then we also have to the left the primary care physician, the name, the address, and the email address for that physician, the primary care position at that organization, at that office. So my part two of my project, my paper was to compare standards. So within my part two of my project, I defined the LOINC, the SNOMED, the ICD-10, sorry, and the UML. Um, I talked about how these systems are synonymous to each other. For example, how ICD-10 is the foundation for SNOMED. I talked about what these standards do, which is promote communication between systems. They are multilingual and universal, and they remove communication boundaries um, between healthcare systems. I discussed the benefit of these systems, which is to improve communication, to reduce errors and reduce costs. And I also talked about the cons of not um, applying these standards within healthcare systems. So without these standards, no communication can happen. That's my presentation portion of my final project, and I look forward to the feedback.